How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting, and welcome back to this Friday episode of the Fruit of Grisaia. Not that it's normally not on a Friday, I'm just recognizing that it's Friday. Hope you're having a good one, and yeah, we're almost at the end of the year. This month is going by really fast. I don't know about you, but But, you know, it's actually been really exciting. I don't know if you've been following the other series that we've been covering this week, but yeah, we're pretty much sprinting to 2 finales. We've had one, and we're going to be having another one, like, right around the corner. So that means we got some new stuff coming around, so hopefully you're excited for some of that. And, you know, again, remember, like, no matter what I cover, I'm always going to be putting my own spin and twist on things, so, you know, hopefully you'll check out when we start something new. But anyway, let's just jump into this while we're here. So, last episode was interesting. A lot of you said that, like, you didn't even remember some of the scenes that we went through, and, like, I was also just really tired at the time, and that didn't help. It was something. It wasn't like it was bad. I wouldn't say that. Like, it was entertaining, and it was interesting, and it certainly, like, did some stuff for characterization, but I feel like it was a bit more fluff than actual character driven, per se. Like, most of the scenes here I wouldn't say are fluff. Like, a lot of them add dynamic to the characters, and I think those other scenes were also attempting to do that, but it felt like it kind of fell a little flat, just because it felt like we didn't see anything new. We just kind of saw reaffirmations of previously established character traits, and so I'm not entirely convinced it was necessary. But it's okay. I mean, it's memorable, but some of those scenes and some of the scenarios can sometimes feel a bit contrived. Like, a good example was the whole scene with being, like, trying to cure Michiru of her condition, where we were trying to, like, knock her out and stuff. Like, I felt like, if I'm honest, it almost felt like it was contrived because maybe the writer thought it would be really funny to have a scene where a character gets tied up in a very smexy way, and, you know, that was just the way they brought it about. It's not like that's always the case. I mean, you can have built-in fan service and fun shenanigan moments just built into your story, and that's really good, if anything. Like, people appreciate it. Like, there's a reason why we have tournament arcs and the beach episode, and, you know, it's like those tropes exist because they're often some of the highlights for a lot of the fans of the series, because it's fun to showcase certain scenarios for characters. For instance, having characters fight each other who normally wouldn't, or having characters put into a different setting where they have different clothing and different outfits and different activities than usual. Like, there's a reason that stuff happens. And I would argue that even, like, an awkward, like, tie-up scene is a kind of a tropey thing to have. Some people will find it mildly amusing. Some people find it very intriguing, if you get my drift. But I do have an issue sometimes when it feels like it's a bit of a contrivance, or kind of something that just kind of comes out of the blue, almost like it's checking a box rather than actually doing anything. A lot of fan service stuff tends to do that for me. Like, I have no problem with fan service. I say this all the time. There's nothing wrong with fan service in a game. I think it's the same thing with any type of media. You put in fan service. I especially appreciate it when it's earned, when it's something that's, like, built in as a character moment, where 2 characters that have feelings for each other are exposing those feelings and sharing them with each other. There's something very powerful about that, even if it is very fan servicey. Like, I think it helps the story in a lot, and I'm very, very supportive of that. The type of fan service I'm not a fan of is the kind that's kind of, like I said, box checking. It's there to be there rather than to actually communicate anything about story and characters. It's more about just making sure you have a certain scene because you want to make sure it covers, or like you build a scenario around a moment that you want to have, rather than building a moment around the characters that you have. That there's a difference in approach, and that makes a big difference for me. So I think that was a bit more on the contrived side rather than on the character exploration side. So that's my issue with it. But anyway, that's enough ranting and raving. I didn't expect to be going on that long for. So let's just jump into it, continuing our shenanigans at the school and working our way towards beach day, because, you know, that's coming. Anyway, this school doesn't employ a gym teacher, and yet our curriculum includes regularly scheduled physical education periods. It's said that late in the course of a certain war, a dearth of instructors meant the intensive training of new conscripts was truly worthless. It was continued mainly to keep up appearances. Similar motivations probably apply in this case. With no teacher, this class is, of course, educational in name alone. Essentially, it's no different from the recreation period we were assigned in my previous school. We're simply given an independent drill time in which we're free to pursue whatever exercise we deem necessary to maintain our physical condition. Alright, I'm going for a run. Anyone want to come along?
このクソ暑いのになんで走んなきゃいけないのよ。
ランナーズハイも度を越せば中毒症状を起こすそうよ。気をつけて。
Alright, hear me out though. There are far worse things to be addicted to than running. I feel like the point where you run so hard it would cause you physical harm is so far and beyond like reasonable that it would take you way too long and you'd get way more benefit than negative. Like if there's an addiction to have, that's probably one of the best ones you could have. Look, you guys, this is a gym class, okay? Would it kill you to at least change into more appropriate clothing?
私は
Yeah, I know, Sachi. It's a maid uniform specialized for physical exercise, right? Good enough. How about the rest of you?
でもうちのジャージってかっこ悪いのよさ。だからあんまり着たくないのよ。
Don't be spoiled. Compared to to baby blue sweats JSDF recruits get, it's downright fashionable.
まあ仕方がないんじゃない？ランニングなら私が付き合ってあげるからさ。
You're not wearing the right clothing either, you know.
いや、さすがにこの年であのジャージは着れないわよ。せめてフロントがフルジップだったらまだマシなんだけど、それに足んとこにゴムついてんだよ。
I'm trying to picture it. I'm sure I've seen what they're describing, but at the same time, I'm struggling to really formulate a mental picture. I also was never great at exercising, so it's not like I'm very familiar with exercise garb, even outdated ones, so what? It's perfectly functional.
はいはい。それじゃあさっさとかけっこ始めましょうか。兵隊さん走れ走れってね。
Don't come crying to me if you get exhausted halfway through.
ああ、本当に行っちゃったわよあの二人。この暑い中を走って何が楽しいんだか。
Michiru, I totally agree, but I also have to tell you, it's not about comfort or fun, it's about discipline and pushing yourself in success. We all should be a lot more active than we are. Doesn't mean it's gonna change much about my life, and I know I should. I used to be about better. If I weren't going through so much medical stuff, I probably would be at least better than I'm currently doing. And I wish, but that's a goal I still need to set for this coming year.
あまね、最近少し太ったって言ってたから、きっとダイエットする気なのよさ。
それで私たちはどうしましょうか。
別に何もしないでいいんじゃない？ねえユミコ。
そうね。何をしろと決められているわけではないし。
So that's a lot of text for what she said.
たまには日に当たりなさいといった時間だから、常識の範囲であれば何をしていても構わないのではなくて。
Mental exercise, the best physical exercise.
わあ、あんたいつの間にあんなサマーベッドなんか用意したのよ。
私はただこんな暑い日には木陰でレモンソーダでも飲みながら静かに読書がしたいわねとつぶやいただけなのだけれど。
You just happened to mention that next to Sachi, didn't you?
気がつけば心優しいメイドさんが用意してくれていたのよ。
Yeah, just conveniently.
サチ、あんたか？
あ、はい。お望みでしたらミチル様の分もご用意いたしますが。
悪くはないんだけど、私ってば一箇所でじっとしてるのってどうしても苦手なのよね。
So then what are you going to do?
ま、お好きになさいな。くれぐれも私の邪魔をしないように。
あの女、言いたいことだけ言っちゃったわよ。
All of you need that. All of everybody. I need that. You need that. Everybody needs to adjust their attitude.
じゃ、 私は自己鍛錬を始めるのよさ。
I'm almost scared to ask, Makina, what is this?
自己鍛錬ってあんたは何する気よ。
お？そうな。まずは軽い有酸素運動で体の中の窒素を抜いて、それから風見流スーパー護身術の訓練をしようと思っているのよさ。
Kazami style?
はあ？何それ？スーパー護身術？なんかうさんくさいわね。あんたなんか最近ユージと仲良くしてると思ったらそんなもの習ってたわけ？
Yeah, what has she been teaching him?
そんなものとは何ですか？絶えず弱者が被害者となるこの世の中で護身術はとても大切なのよ。しかもスーパーなのよ。決して侮ってはいけないのよ。まあ言いたいことはわかるわよ。でもそんなもの習って実際に効果なんてあるの？
Yeah, me too. I'm invested now. I want to see this.
そこまで疑うのならば試してみるがよろしい。どこからでもかかってきなさい。
Uh-huh.
言ったわね。じゃあ行くわよ。それ。
Uh-oh.
助けてマグロマン。うるさ。
っていうか誰よマグロマン。それのどの辺がスーパーなのか私に分かるように教えてもらえる？
Honestly, it's not a bad idea. Like, I think it's unfortunate, but a lot of people could probably benefit by, like, immediately recognizing a dangerous situation and just screaming at the top of their lungs. A lot of people, especially people who are, like, who know they're up to no good, are going to be extra paranoid about being called out or caught, and thus just screaming at them will trigger, like, that fight or flight instinct, and that can be enough. No guarantee at all, but it certainly is a good first step. It's weird to say it, but it's not a bad idea.
え？チルチルってば一から教えないとわからない人？ムカ
つくわね。きょとんとした顔で私を見ないで。
いいですか？つまりね、普段どんなに練習をしていてもいざとなったら怖くなって動けなくなっちゃうのよさ。だったら下手に武術とか覚えて変な自信つけちゃうより、まずは大声で人を呼ぶ練習をしておくのが一番なんだって。
Dang, there's a lot of actual good logic to that. I mean, they might say it's nonsense, but no, I mean, if you start every altercation where you're being illegally assaulted with a scream for help, even if you can't fight them off, at least you're giving yourself the best chance of being discovered and given help.
何よそれ。結局人頼みじゃない。
That's perfectly, like, that's a very reasonable approach to self-defense.
いえ、でもそれで間違っていないのだそうですよ。大声で人を呼べば相手は大抵動揺しますし、実際みちる様も思わずマキちゃんを掴んでいた手を離してしまいましたよね。
そりゃあまあ急にあんな大声出されれば誰だってびっくりするし。
風見さんがおっしゃるには、実際の路上強盗などの場合、大抵の犯人は最初に大声を出すなと脅してくるそうですが、
It is all information from Kazami, but I mean, I do think he's right here, and I don't think this is BS purely. I think he will come back and say, like, well, yeah, obviously you should know how to defend yourself, but I do think he's got a point.
それは転ずれば大声を出されれば仕事にならないからです。犯人に逆らわず言う通りにしていればいいという考え方もありますが。
Okay, so there's the rift there. I think if you are cornered and they have a weapon, it might be best just to give them what they ask for, assuming that they're just asking for monetary value, especially if it's something that's not even yours. Like if you're working at a job and they want to mug the store, it's like that store's products aren't worth your life. So like don't be taking unnecessary risk, but if you can get out of there, get out of there. If you can shout for help, shout for help. I think ultimately most people are like most of the time, even in those situations, if you scream and get attention and can get help there quickly, like it's not even going to be worth whatever they're trying to get, and most people will just bolt because like if they have to fight their way out of a situation, it's very rarely worth it.
一度犯人にこいつは逆らわないやつだと思われると、要求は次第にエスカレートして、
Good grief, there's no good answers.
そこでまずは大きな声を出す。大きな声を出されれば犯人は必ずびっくりして、誰かが来たら捕まるかもしれないと考えるのよさ。
So it almost seems the best way to go is to yell loudly as you can and then comply. Like if you can't fight back and you don't feel reasonably safe or assured or capable, like first scream as loud as you can and then give in to their demands. But like, you know, you've got to give yourself the best chances in both cases.
そうなるとやけを起こして相手に怪我をさせるより、このまま何もしないで逃げた方がいいって考えるのよさ。
なるほど。なんか一理あるような気がしてきたわね。
I agree.
でも諦めの悪い犯人だったり、周りに誰もいないような状況だったらどうするのよ。
I mean,
意味なくない？
you're always going to be playing with the odds, and you get to that combination, then there's like what the alternative wouldn't do you any good either.
ところが意味はあるのよさ。大声を出すことで全身の筋肉が適度にほぐれるから、恐怖で萎縮していた筋肉が動くようになるのです。
Huh.
反撃に出るのはそれからなのよさ。
反撃？何をするのよ。
Punch!
じゃあチルチルが犯人役ね。ナイフを持った路上強盗いい？
ああ、はいはい、ナイフね。右手それとも左手？
どっちでもいいのよさ。と言いつつ、私も利き腕の右手を体の後ろに隠す。
Yeah, that's interesting that she asked that. Like why is it? Wouldn't you choose which hand you wheel to get in?
ビビったね。こいつ何か武器を隠し持っているのかと一瞬警戒したね。そしてじりじりと焦げつくような睨み合いが続くのよさ。この間にも犯人は強行するか逃げるかでずっと悩む。
Just no matter how confident a criminal feels, they're out of their element. They're in an enemy territory essentially. As soon as they pull out a weapon and start making threats, they're in hostile territory. Them and anybody who casually observes are likely going to be against them in some way or another. So if you can draw it out, even if you're not actually confronting them, but just make them sit, think, and sweat, it's gonna make it more and more likely that they're just gonna want to back off.
悩みながらも体の後ろに隠された私の手の動き、肩の動きに意識が集中する。ほらほら、何が飛び出してくるかわからないのよ。ナイフかもしれない、ピストルかもしれない。
Again, lots of words for very little said.
何かもっと簡単なヘアスプレーを吹きかけられたり、例えば携帯電話を投げつけられても隙はできる。
And it means somebody else could intervene from behind.
右腕一本を隠すことで相手の動きを牽制しつつ、相手の思考すら支配する。
What? No!
お見事。
こうやって素早く相手の懐に肉吐く。みぞおち、顎、鼻なんかの人体の急所をめがけて強烈な頭突きをぶちかますのよさ。
Yeah,
これ
headbutt.
ぞ肉弾攻め。
That's a risky venture, but a powerful one. Because even if you're a smaller person, like your skull's decently, it's got some mass to it, and if you're hitting with like a very solid part of your bone, you're likely to do some pretty nasty like latent damage. And then you run, right?
あんた今一瞬消えて
そう、それがずらしと宿地なのよさ。人間は意識して集中すればするほど焦点は小さくなるのよ。その狭くなった相手の意識外にスッと体をずらしてしまえば一瞬見えなくなったと錯覚する。そして素早く肉吐く。
I wonder if that's true, because like if I feel like if they're zeroed in on you, wouldn't they track your movement? I mean, if you can really leap really fast to the side, maybe not. But I don't know if a typical person is going to be able to move fast enough to make that really worthwhile.
みちる様、しっかり。このままでは惨めに逮捕されてしまいますよ。反撃です。反撃してください。
相手が逆上して襲いかかってきても慌てて逃げてはいけないのよさ。その昔スパルタの母はこう言いました。剣が短いと嘆くよりも一歩踏み込めばよいと。
That's kind of cute. I wonder if that's a real quote, because I like it. Like if you lament your sword is too short, take a step closer to the enemy. Like use that time to make the to make that difference up.
そうするとこんな風に相手は頭突きを警戒して自然と上体を引くのよさ。そんで相手の体重が上半身に乗っている時に両肩をポンと押してやれば、終わったっちょね、簡単にバランスを崩すでしょ。
Yeah, again, lots of text for very little said.
このまま荷重の抜けた下半身にタックル入れて膝の裏を掴んでグッと持ち上げてやれば簡単に倒せるけど。
Oh yeah, they go for intimidation.
引き寄せてやると相手の力も加わってかなりのスピードで引き寄せることができます。
And then knee.
あとは相手の顎に横合いから軽くパーンとパンチを放てば勝手にカウンターになって脳震盪を起こします。はい、パンコ。
Holy crap, she's dead.
相手の眼がブルンと揺れて目を開いたままばったりと倒れ込んだらチャンスです。ブーツを履いた足で相手の喉を思い切り踏みつけて呼吸器官を潰すか腹を蹴って内臓を破裂させるのよさ。
Wait, hang on. This is quickly turning around. You're stepping away from self-defense and into actual assault. Stop kicking her.
そして相手が動かなくなったら周囲を警戒しつつその場を立ち去り最寄りの警察に駆け込んで叫ぶ。助けてください、私暴漢に襲われたんです。はい、叫んで。
助けてください、私暴漢に襲われたんです。
オーケー、これで完璧。
I mean, hypothetically, it worked brilliantly. It actually makes me think one of my favorite videos that I ever saw is the I think it was supposed to be like they described it as like the perfect example of chaotic neutral. It's like a couple like teens get into a store and like one of them goes up to the counter and starts distracting the cashier, and as soon as they do, their friend opens up their backpack and starts sticking a bunch of food, like they're robbing the store of like just snacks and stuff. But then right behind them, another guy comes in, but with a gun, intending to like a pistol or a shotgun, with the intent to stick up the actual store owner and rob the cash register. The teens back off. Like the one teen backs off, but the other guy he's like hears what's going on. He like ducks away and hides, and he waits until the guy the guy's he's confronting the shopkeeper with the rifle, and then he takes his skateboard and he slides it down the alleyway to impact like the back of the guy's heel, like the robber with the gun. And the guy like looks at the ground, he's like, what the? And then his friend goes from behind and sucker punches him like in the back of the head. His friend comes out and throws his backpack at the guy and makes him drop the gun. And then like the first teen grabs the gun and gives it to the store owner, and then they book it out. It's the best clip ever, because then like the store owner just has the guy like the first like robber at gunpoint, and the other guys just leave the whole scene where they were the criminals, but they were doing just something like really petty, just like we're just getting some food, which in the grand scheme of things, not the biggest deal. Still not good, but not the biggest deal. And then they completely turned around and like coordinatedly attacked like the second robber. It's almost so good. Part of me wonders if it was all like a fake, just to make a funny video. But even if it were, it still feels really fun to imagine. But like the way the footage is taken, it feels very real. Like I like to think it is real. Aww, poor Michiru.
完璧じゃないわよ。むしろあんたが暴漢。ゲフ。はあ、そっか。こっちが被害者だってアピールしながら戦うの忘れてた。
That is what yeah. Yuuji did. He, like when he was beating up the guys in the alley, he's like, "Oh no, I gotta protect myself."
続きとか蹴りを入れるときにね。
Yeah, it's very important. You gotta establish that you're the victim.
過剰な暴力を加えて相手の反撃能力を抹殺しつつも被害者面。まさにスーパー護身術だね、マキちゃん。
まあ、相手がチルチルだからうまくいったけど、実際は大声出すだけにしとけってお兄ちゃんは言ってたのよさ。格闘術はまず大声を出す勇気を得るために習うものなんだってさ。
That's kinda cute.
戦うために習うんじゃなくて、安全に逃げるための護身術ってわけだよね。
Yeah, the philosophy of self-defense is that, self-defense. It's about protecting yourself and getting yourself to safety, not just winning.
そういうことなのよさ。
何、綺麗にまとめようとしてんのよ。そうよ。あまり体力バカの言うことを真に受けない方がいいわよ。
I don't know, this one does seem legitimate. I feel like it's a pretty decent philosophy.
あまね、もう戻ってきたの？
やっぱ無理。暑い。学校の周りを一周走っただけでドロドロ汗が出てきた。人の走れる気温じゃない。死んじゃう。
お兄ちゃんはどうしたのよさ。
あいつ人間じゃない。涼しい顔してそのまま駅の方に向かって走っていったわ。あれはサイボーグよ。
そういえば以前風見さんもご自身で俺はそういう風に作られた人間なんだっておっしゃっていましたしね。
誰かあいつにはっきりと言いなさいよ。マキナにあんま変なこと教えるなって。おかげで私は
っていうか、なんでミチルは泥だらけでぶっ倒れてるの？
なぜならそれは私が被害者だから。
I'm the victim!
ごめん。私、バカだから全然意味がわからない。
Soon after having returned to the athletic grounds, I ended up having to apologize to Michiru over something or other in order to deflect any mysterious fit of violent indignation. And to this day, I have no idea what she's so angry about. Well, there we go. See, that one was a good side quest where it talked about, like, characterization.
ちょうどいいところでチャイムね。それじゃあ、現代文の授業はここまでにしましょうか。
Yay! At the sound of the bell, the principal promptly cut off the lesson and put away her chalk. Her consistent punctuality in these matters is reminiscent of a clock-punching civil servant counting down the years until retirement. Perhaps I should try to learn from her example.
ってことは、待ちに待ったご飯の時間なのよ。一日お預けを食らった豚のように、みんなでブヒブヒ言いながらむさぼり食うのよさ。
Why did you have to go with that description?
今の言葉遣いの悪さは見逃してあげるけど、ご飯の時はお行儀よくね。
Machina.
それから、午後の授業は音楽だから、教室を間違えないようにね。
Interesting. Even as she passes on the reminder, the principal is effectively putting away her textbook. As soon as the words are out of her mouth, she exits the classroom with the cheerful expression of an office lady thinking over her lunch.
そういえば、音楽の授業って久しぶりかも。
This is the first time I've selected music for my afternoon elective. What's the class like at this school?
他の学校と特別違うようなところはないと思うけど、合唱が多いわね。ほら、モルジブとか。
Okay, so there's a lot of singing.
それってもしかして、モルダウのこと？
I don't know.
あれ？それって株価のことじゃなかったっけ？
Oh boy.
全然違うんだけど、もう、モルジブでいいや。
Yeah, but it's just like, I'm not gonna try.
なんか諦められてる。でも、次の授業では楽器演奏をやるって、髪がロールキャベツみたいになってるあの先生が言ってたのよ。
Cabbage roll hair. Huh. An instrumental performance.
なんでも、 各自が好きな楽器を持ち寄ってみんなで一つの曲を演奏するらしいのよさ。
But okay, having been in, like, I played the violin all through high school, and I can tell you, based on music, especially what most people have, if you aren't already invested in a musical instrument on your own, what on earth would you bring if he just told you to bring your favorite? Like, are you literally gonna go and try and buy a really expensive instrument that you've never touched before? Or are you just gonna find a kazoo at a local dollar store? Like, what is he expecting?
前回の音楽は2週間くらい前になるけれど、そんなことを言っていたかしら。
まあ妄想力豊かなユミちゃんには別の言葉に聞こえたかもしれないけれど、
Right.
私は確かにそう聞いたのよ。
Because it hasn't already been very clearly established. So Makina tends to hear what she wants to hear rather than what is actually being presented. Hence the zebra trip with the tuna jingle thingy or whatever.
それだけ自信があるなら、本当にそう言ったんでしょう。
No, she's the queen of having confidence when there shouldn't be any.
でも、急に好きな楽器って言われても、どれにするか迷っちゃうわよね。だったら、昼休みの間に決めておけばいいじゃない？
Oh, you know what? I just had the thought the school itself might be stocked with rental and use instruments if, like, because it is a very well-equipped school for having 6 students or 5 students.
決めるって、わざわざ音楽準備室を開けてもらって？忘れたの、アマネ。このクラスにはサチがいるのよ。あ、なるほど。
It seems she's suggesting we have our dedicated miracle worker put musical instruments out of her hat.
みちる様の言いたいことは分かりました。お望みとあらば、この小峰幸、喜んで裸になりましょう。
What? What?
誰が学校でストリップをやれって言ったのよ。
すみません。みちる様は両党かと思っていたのですが、違いましたか？
What?
もう全然違うわよ。ツンデレだけでも大変なのに妙な設定追加しないでよね。
There's her own little wall break there. Like, it's hard enough being the act.
どさくさに紛れてツンデレは設定って言っちゃってるし。浅はかね。
まあいいわ。とりあえず試しに一つ楽器を用意してみてちょうだい。
Wait, no specific. One in the school. Not... Otherwise you're gonna send her to Tokyo or something.
それは構いませんが、どの楽器にしましょう？
そうね。じゃあ無難なところでソプラノリコーダーなんかを。
Soprano... Oh, a recorder. Gotcha. I was gonna say, like, what's a soprano recorder? Because I thought like a recording device, but no, like, it's like the basic flute. Like, the non-metal plastic kind.
はい、わかりました。
As soon as she's formally received her order, Sachi runs over to her locker in the usual manner.
お待たせしました。こちらになります。
What? In no time at all, she returns to Michiru and hands over a requested wind instrument.
確かにソプラノリコーダーね。ってこれ、裏に私の名前が彫ってあるんだけど。
What?
リコーダーには紛失と誤用がつきものですから、事前に名前を入れさせていただきました。
She wanted to borrow it.
ということはもしかして、頼めば私たちの分も？
はい、漢字で8文字以内でしたら。
How? What?
すごいけどちょっと怖い。
Is it like a label maker type of thing? But she said etched, and an etching device is pretty big. Well, I'm impressed, Sachi. Not only did you prepare the instrument instantly, you're apparently a fairly competent engraver.
ありがとうございます。
I'd be worried too.
では、ちょっとブルっちゃったチルチルに代わって、ここからは私が進行を務めたいのだけど。
The coup has begun.
各自、自分がやってみたいと思ってる楽器をサッチーにリクエストしていくって感じでいい？
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
おし、じゃあやろうども。5分以内に楽器のリクエストを決めるようにするのよさ。
はーい。
Okay.
これでよしと。
Seems our preparations are complete.
はい、 リクエストされたものは一通り用意できました。
Knowing Yuuji, he might have gone for something ridiculous. What's the most ridiculous thing I could see him? Well, okay, most ridiculous, which it probably wouldn't be, would be a full, like, church organ. But that's not going to be something you can bring into this room, which is why it'd be ridiculous. So, maybe an oboe? Oboe would be pretty tough to find randomly. While I've been sitting here reading my paperback, Sachi's been methodically carrying musical instrument cases of various shapes and sizes into the classroom. This seems to be the last of them. By the way, what did you go with, Sakaki?
リコーダーよ。
Well, I mean, basic, but functional. Sorry, didn't quite catch that.
あれとリコーダーよ。笑いたければ好きなだけ笑うといいわ。
And why? It's not like any of us are going to be any good either. I don't really think it's anything to get that defensive about. Definitely a bit of a surprising choice, though.
そうそう。ユミちゃんっていいとこのお嬢様だから。ザマスって10秒に1回くらい喋るおばちゃんにバイオリンとか習ってるイメージだったのよさ。
Yeah, a little truer than you'd like to think.
その芸術に関する習い事は何もしていなかったのよ。だから満足な演奏ができるようなものは小さい頃に習ったリコーダーくらいしか。
I get that. That makes sense why they might pick it then, because it's like they had actual exposure to it as opposed to anything else.
榊さんも可愛いところあるんだね。スオさん。ごめん。ついからかいたくなっちゃって。
Yeah, I get that too. I understand that she's upset, but why glare at me?
なら、スオさんはどんな楽器にしたの？
Yeah, why did she glare at us? Is she blaming us for that teasing, or was she expecting us to defend her? I don't get that. That was weird. Anyway.
私はこれよ。
With obvious relish, Amane takes her instrument from the case and gives it a vigorous strum. Is it a guitar? I see. You chose an electric guitar, Amane? Okay.
やっぱり女子学生に似合う楽器って言ったらギターでしょ。
I mean, as a fashion statement, absolutely. If you can play the thing, definitely.
確かにスオさんには一番似合ってる楽器かもね。
I mean, if anyone in here is a rock star, it would probably be Amane.
そう？まあ、なんていうか、ライブとかやった後に雪吊りの男とトイレでエッチなことしてそうなイメージ。
I just meant that she seems like she's driven to be in a band, not that she's a groupie.
あんたたちはどうしても私をビッチにしたいみたいね。
Just a thought here. If she had a problem with her image, maybe she could try to break that habit of aggressively mashing her teeth against people?
まあでもギターのコードは3つくらいしか知らないんだけどね。
You can do okay with 3 chords.
何よ、全然ダメじゃない。
じゃあ、そういうみちるは何にしたのよ。
私はもちろんこれに決まってるじゃない。
Alright, I'm gonna try and guess now. Michiru, obvious choice. She's a tsundere. You know what? I'm gonna go with the cello. Michiru probably brandishes an enormous musical instrument. A harp. Oh, okay, alright. I thought it might be right for a second. I was like, oh, seriously?
そう、知的な私にぴったりな楽器でしょ。
Sure.
いや、全然。全く似合っていないわね。
むしろ楽器がかわいそう。
Oh, that is kind of sad.
この際、頭のツインテールで音を奏でてみてはいかがでしょう。
なんで私だけコメントが辛辣なのよ。っていうか、重っ！ハープ重っ！
Of course it's heavy. It's freaking huge. And isn't the frame usually made of either wood or metal? Not to worry. I will now provide you with a musical instrument ideally suited to your capabilities, Michiru.
本当？
Recorder. Yep. I quietly nod to Sachi, who hands Michiru a small xylophone to use in school's public announcement broadcasts. Oh, like, okay, so it's just like a small xylophone, but the first image I had was like the toy xylophone, like the preschool toy with like the rainbow colored tiles. I'm gonna keep that in my head.
木琴？
Dubious as your physical strength may be, I think you should be able to handle this, right?
おまけに端から順に叩くだけでお知らせのメロディーになりますしね。
That's cute. It's literally the announcement one.
覚えたてのチンパンジーじゃないんだからね。
No one seems willing to answer that question, apparently. I'm not the only one who thinks a performing ape is actually a pretty good match for Chibishi in the brains part. Hey! They keep punching down. She's dumb, but come on.
じゃあマキナ。私はシンセにしたのよさ。
A synthesizer? I didn't get a chance to guess. I never would have guessed that. As she speaks, Makina immediately sounds off a demonstrational note.
と言っても楽音を合成する機能は備わっていないので、キーボードといった方がわかりやすいかもしれません。
Okay, that makes sense. So it's a very basic one. It's just an electric keyboard. Pretty solid though. It can do some basic sounds. Very nice. Very good, straightforward one. You know what? I think I might change my guess. I think I might know what Yuji might have asked for. A theremin. He would be the guy who would bring a theremin.
それより、そんな大きなものどうやって用意したの？
I wonder if they were, because like nowadays you can get them pretty cheap. Like if you get a basic model, I think you can get them for under $50. But I do know you can get lots that are expensive. So maybe it's just an expensive like professional version.
はい、これはさすがにロッカーの中で保管できませんので、速やかに音楽準備室に侵入して確保してきました。
Right, right.
侵入ってね。結局のところ、最初から音楽準備室に行っておけばよかったって話よね。
Yeah, so it would seem, yes.
でも鍵盤っていろんな音が出せて結構面白いのよ。
And what would you use them for?
例えば、そういえばチルチル、この前お兄ちゃんがチルチルのツインテールを褒めてたのよ。
Oh no.
本当？とか。
Aw, that's cute.
人を実験台にするな。
Thematic like soundboard timing. That's pretty cool. She'd be a good Twitch streamer.
他にも、うわー、ユミちゃんがカッターで自分の服をズタボロに。
あなたの中で私がどんな人間になっているのかは知らないけれど、やらないわよ。私は。
About the best way you could respond.
もう、ユミちゃんはノリ悪いな。
そういう問題じゃないと思うけどね。
She's using it in strange ways, but versatility is the instrument of this instrument might make it a good fit for Bakira as a complement to her limited power of self-expression. Well then, last would be Sachi. What instrument did you choose?
私はこれになります。
Alright, Sachi, very practical, probably very talented. And we already got a keyboard, because my first inclination would be the piano, which is kind of like the universal instrument. It can kind of do everything. I'd say a violin. With a smile, Sachi places a block of wood slightly larger than a tissue box on top of her desk. That like a maraca?
何？これ、金属の棒が2本刺さってるけど。
Wait, is this a theremin? Wait, this is a theremin? It is a theremin! That's me! I didn't think that was actually gonna be a thing!
さすが風見さん、テルミンのこともご存知だったんですね。
Gosh darn it, I thought he was gonna bring the theremin, not Sachi! From books, yes. This is the first time I've actually laid eyes on one.
ねえねえ、何なの？その、テルミって名前の子がつけられるあだ名みたいな名前の楽器は。
But who's named Terumi?
テルミンというのはロシアで生まれた特殊な楽器で、本体に触れることなく空中にある手の位置だけで音程や音量を調節することができるらしいわ。
I don't know for sure, but I think it just utilizes like electromagnetic waves between the two rods, and by placing your hand and moving it, like it just kind of like interferes with the magnetic fields they produce in subtle ways, and it interprets it into sounds. If you don't know, pretty much all like the classic sci-fi sounds come from theremin, like the like old alien sounds. Like a theremin was essentially used to kind of depict the sounds of sci-fi way back in the day. So that's kind of what it like. If you heard it, you'd know exactly what it was.
へえ、榊さんも詳しいんだね。
きっとネットしてたら偶然名前を見かけて、どんなマスコットキャラかしらって勘違いで調べたことがあるだけなのよさ。
She doesn't deny it, which probably means Makina hit that bullseye. Dang, that's kind of funny.
そういえば、風見さんは何の楽器にするか決めたんですか？
I don't have any particular favorites, so I'm fine with playing whatever the instructor recommends.
それじゃあちょっと面白くないわね。
Alright, then why don't you choose something for me?
おお、それはなんだか面白そうな話なのよ。
Alright, so what are they gonna recommend?
なるほど。ユージに似合いそうな楽器か。
It'd be hilarious if you give him banjo. I don't have any particular strengths or weaknesses in this field after all. It'll probably be my first time playing whatever instrument you choose, so it's all the same to me.
だったらアコースティックギターとかがいいんじゃない？
That's a solid choice.
確かに似合うと思いますが、少し無難すぎるかもしれません。
Excuse me, what? Guitar is a very difficult instrument to learn, especially right off the bat.
じゃあハーモニカなんてどう？港の出っ張ってるやつにこう足とか乗っけてさ。
That does sound cute.
悪くないんだけど、あまねのチョイスはちょっと古いわね。
Harmonicas are fine.
うわ、その言葉結構ショックかも。
それならバイオリンというのはどう？
I'm a bit biased. Violin is what I played growing up. I enjoy it.
悪くない選択だと思います。
Sachi, hello. I haven't touched any of these instruments before, so it's a bit hard to choose.
もし決まらないようなら、お兄ちゃんも私と同じシンセにしてしまえばいいのよ。
I see. That's not a bad idea either.
で、同じ楽器でいいなら私と一緒にエレキギターやろうよ。
それなら私も。なにこんなところで楽器なんか出してみんなでバンドでも始めるの？
No, we were just in the middle of choosing our instruments for the upcoming class.
次の授業って5限目の音楽は合唱のはずだけど。
I knew it! You sure about that?
ほら、ここにもそう書いてあるでしょ？
Oh, no. The principal hands over a copy of her detailed class schedule. Just as she said, the words musical choral lesson are printed in the relevant box. I see. Thank you for correcting our faulty intelligence.
事情はよくわからないけれど、役に立ったのならよかったわ。
I wonder, I thought they were actually going to be presenting us a choice there. Another one was like, I have no idea what this choice actually means, but maybe not.
学園長のおかげで少し懲らしめないといけない人間が出てきたみたいですから。
Yes, Makina, let's go have a conversation in the hallway real quick.
そうなの？
はい。平気な顔で誤情報を流した悪い子をね。
ちょっと待ってほしいのよ。間違いは誰にでもあることなのよさ。
Very well spoken by the voice actor right there.
じゃあ罰を受ける覚悟も当然できているわよね、イリスさん。
ユミちゃんまで。
Give it up, Makina. You ended up wasting an entire lunch period. A little punishment is only natural.
お兄ちゃんまでそう言うなら私も腹をくくるのだけど。
She's bolting.
その前に1分だけ時間が欲しいのよ。
She's bolting.
認めましょう。
さっちん、実は。
No.
何？
今から昼休みが終わるまでの間、私を抱えて逃げ回ってほしいのよさ。
いいよ。
No! Counter!
ちょっとマキナ、ここでサチを使うのは卑怯よ。卑怯でも反則でも勝てば官軍ってやつなのよさ。
マキ
さっち、2人から角が生えてこないうちに逃げるのよさ。わかった。
Amane and Michiru take their first steps forward. Sachi shoulders Makina like a backpack and darts out of the classroom.
こら！待ちなさい！ツンデレなめんじゃないわよ！
いくらあの二人が本気になっても小峰さんが相手じゃ分が悪いわね。
喧嘩はしちゃダメよ。
Makina's flight from justice isn't exactly admirable, but Sachi's absolute obedience is pretty immoral in its own right. And thus it ends.
絶対に追いついてやるんだから。
さすがサッチー。アマネーとチルチルもすでに虫の息なのよさ。
Minutes later, when the bell announces the end of lunch period brought her request to an end, Makina's boastful jeering dissolved into miserable screams. Well, that was exciting. It's impossible to weigh one kind of unhappiness against another. Even say the sadness of a man who has lost a lifelong friend and the bitterness of sulking of a young girl forced to eat her carrots before dessert. There's no scale by which we can objectively measure misery. People have a tendency to judge themselves happier or unhappier relative to others, but such comparisons rest on flawed assumptions that we all think and feel alike. Another misfortune might seem trivial to you, but if it brings genuine distress and suffering, anything can be a tragedy. Amen, actually. That's a really good point. And it also is a tool that's used against yourself, where you justify your maybe lack of skill or your unhappiness, your lack of success based on what you observe of others without really understanding context or really seeing things from with the proper perspective. Michiru turns her shark pouch inside out and shrieks, although by now I'm somewhat used to this woman's tendency to kick up a fuss at the slightest provocation. When she's this loud, it's impossible to focus on my reading. Ramune is the candies, right? Surely a little candy doesn't warrant this much of a ruckus. One would think you'd throw in a pineapple, or I'll have it bounce off a wall and land at your feet. That's a weird example.
糖分はね、頭にね、あわあわあわ。
It is weird she's this adamant about it being a problem. You're so darn noisy, woman. Are you sure you didn't just drop them under your desk?
机の下、探してみる。
Michiru drops to all fours and begins to desperately search every inch of the ground for her candy. I could understand this position if she was looking for something small like a contact lens, but it hardly seems efficient when she's trying to find something so obvious as a container of candy. Michiru, my friend?
何よ。今探してるんだから話しかけないでよね。
Sorry. However, I feel obligated to inform you that I can see your underwear.
頭ぶつけた。
Yeah, her skirt definitely did seem too short. You know, the first thing I would think of would be Makina. You holding your head and crying in tears of pain after foolishly bumping into the desk, or at your simple white underwear, which is still completely exposed at present.
どっちもよ。今はそんなことしてる場合じゃないんだから。
どうかしたの？
Sakaki comes over to investigate the commotion. In response, Michiru flaps her mouth like a goldfish and points at her shark pouch.
あのね、ここに入れておいたね、ラムネがね、ないの。
ラムネ？ラムネってラムネ菓子のこと？
They are pretty cool.
そうなの、ないのよ。
新しいのを買うわけにはいかないの？
そういうわけにはいかないの。だってあれは特別なラムネなのです。
I wonder. Because that doesn't make any actual sense. So what if it's not actually candy? What if it's like medicine or something?
特別なラムネ。わかった。もし見つけたら教えるわ。
そうしてください。ねえ、ユージ。なんだか今の態度怪しくなかった？
Not really. Not in the least. She was exactly the same unfriendly individual as always.
そうよね。やっぱりおかしかったわよね。私も最初からそう思ってたのよ。
Alright, so we're gonna be playing the paranoid pointing fingers game. Are you even listening to me?
もしやユミコがやったの。そういえばあの子ってば、
Holy
い
crap.
つになくラムネを欲しそうな顔をしてたもの。
Maybe,
むしろラムネ顔だったもの。
maybe it is medication for something. What exactly is a Ramune face?
そりゃあもう おやつは500円までですよって言われたら600円分ラムネ買っちゃうような顔よ。しかも食べないのよ、保存用だから。
Did she really have an expression like that on her face?
してたでしょ、あの目。ラムネの目をしてたもの。ラム目だわ。
Calm yourself, woman. There's no such thing. Probably as a result of her panic, Michiru seems to have grown somewhat paranoid. Well, that's always been an element of her personality, but it seems more pronounced at the moment. Also, she's completely incoherent. There are a few things as ugly as throwing around unfounded accusations. Usually this would be the part where I deliver a swift kick to the butt with a steel-toed boot, but I'm dealing with a woman here, so that sadly is not an option. I don't know, could be an option, but maybe a more delicate option's better for civilians.
ねえ、ラムネなくしたんだって？買ってあげようか？
いらないの。あのラムネじゃなきゃダメなの。
まるで子供ね。ユージ、なんでこんなに取り乱してるの？
Perhaps she's under some sort of chronic stress. Maybe I'd be using her loss of property as an excuse to allow some steam.
違うわよ。ストレスなんて感じてないもん。
You're the definition of stressed right now.
みんなで一緒に探してあげるわよ。
その必要以上の優しさ。怪しい。
You know what? Maybe she's justified in being paranoid, because normally they're always picking on her. But I'm guessing it's just the fact that she's like genuinely upset and people can see that.
普通のこと言っただけなんだけどな。
正直に言いなさい。私は怒らないから。じゃあ目つむって。はい、あまねさん、手を挙げて。
はい。
やっぱりあんたが取ったのね。この泥棒ラムネ。
She raised her hand in response to your demand. That's not a confession.
ちょっと、今のは罠じゃないの。むしろ罠にさえなってないわよ。
だってあまねが。
よしよし、さっちゃんだってきっと一緒に探してくれるから。
もしかしてサチがやったのね。そうに決まってる。サチ、自分がやったと言いなさい。
It's not. She's going to say she admits it because she's being told to. No, I guarantee you, if anyone's actually at fault, it's Machina. It's just, it's the only person that would make sense.
はい、私がやりました。
ちょっと。
もちろんです。何の話か全く把握していませんが、私の責任だというのであれば、それはもう 100% 私の責任です。
You know, could probably be a mass murderer, and because she just accepts whatever people accuse her of, no one would actually suspect her. Michiru, you know full well how Sachi thinks. She's going to say she stole your candy regardless of the real facts. I seriously doubt you're going to find them this way.
わかってるもん。サチじゃないってことはわかってます。
Then why are you accusing her?
はい、みちる様がそうおっしゃられるなら 100% 私に非はありません。
さっちゃんがいると話がややこしくなるから、ちょっとあっちかどこか行っててね。
はい、わかりました。
Doesn't seem like Sakaki, Amane, or Sachi were responsible, therefore.
残るわ。
ねえねえ、ボンバイエって何語なの？
And finally, the most likely candidate comes into plot. Lingala.
そっか、ありがとう。またね。お待ちなさい。アキナ、とうとう尻尾を出したわね。マキナに尻尾はないのよ。さあ、どこに隠したの？ちゃんと言いなさい。なんでチルチルそれを知ってるの？やっぱり。でも私だって鬼じゃない。今謝れば許してあげるから白状しなさい。ごめんなさい。私がやりました。
Hey, she's coming clean too easily. What is she? It's something else, isn't it?
やっぱり許さん。絶対に許さん。スンスン。実はね、アマネの部屋に入ってね。それでね。
What?
私の部屋？
それで買いだめして隠してあるお菓子を山ほど盗み食いしたのよさ。
Wait, It's a very similar crime, so she might still be culpable.
そう。
ああ、だからさっき廊下でお腹痛いって言ってたのね。
ごめんなさい。まさかバレてるとは思わなかったのよ。悪いことしたからね。私に尻尾生えたの悪いことしたから
大丈夫よ、尻尾は生えてないから。
だってチルチルがそう言ったのよさ。あたいの尻尾どんなん？ふさふさしてる？それともシュッとした感じ？意外にぐっしょり濡れてたりとか。
うんうん、尻尾はないからね。さっちゃんに言って胃薬もらおうね。ほらおいで。
もう苦しいのよ。これも尻尾のせいかもしれないのよさ。
うんうん、食べ過ぎだからね。
となるとやれやれ。
まさかこんなことになるとは思わなかったわ。
Because, you know, we're well known for being addicted to sweets.
あんたが真犯人だとはね。
Ridiculous. Why would I steal a bunch of fruit-flavored sugar lozenges?
そうやって真っ先に否定するところが怪しいのよ。
Stop talking. You're a complete simpleton.
コアッパってどういう意味なの？小さいワッパってこと？ワッパって何？
Don't need to play any games. Look, just calm down and think this over carefully. What were you doing before you lost the...
妖怪の仕業を疑うの。妖怪枕返しの仕業なの。
That makes no sense. A pillow turner turns your pillow to the other side of to the other end of the bed. That's it. It doesn't steal things.
枕を返すだけじゃないもん。時には頭と足の向きを変えることだってします。
I have actually had that happen to me
それ意味
before.
あんの？何のために存在してるのあいつ。
Don't ask me. Anyway, try to remember what you were doing before you lost the candies. If you slowly go back over your actions, you should be able to figure it out when you drop them.
わかりました。あれだ。なんだ。まず机に座ってました。
Did you have the Ramune candies at that point?
わかんない。
How do you not know? When's the last time you're sure you had them?
だってこのポーチの中。
The instant Michiru opens her pouch, the color of her face changes dramatically. Can't quite read her expression. Irritation, maybe regret. I can think I also see a rare hint of shame.
もういいわ。
Oh no.
ラムネのことは忘れましょう。犯人探しなんて趣味が悪いわね。はい、3回。
You didn't open the right zipper, did you? What's this all of a sudden? Those candies are important to you, right? I'll help you find them.
いや、なんていうのかしら。もういいのよ。だってラムネなんていくらだって代わりはあるでしょ。そんないちいちラムネの一つや二つなくしたぐらいで騒いでたらごめんなさい。
Let us approaching with a give me the bag. You found them, didn't you? Inside the pouch.
申し訳ござりません。はい、確かにこのサメの中に入っておりました。でも別に謝ったりしないんだからね。
Don't fall back on your act. You just did. Pretty much groveled, in fact.
うっさいわね。そういうことじゃないのよ。謝ってはいるけど謝ってはいないのよ。わかる？このツンデレっぽさわかる？
I stare quietly into Michiru's eyes at the moment, then abruptly break eye contact. In geopoliticals, they say a country that breaks away from a staring contest first loses, but in this sort of situation, the opposite is true. It's like, whatever. By averting my gaze first, I take initiative and fluster my opponent. Of course, I have an overwhelming disadvantage over Michiru, even if I don't bother with this sort of trick, but it's something I have a habit. I should really try to work on this instinctive need to exert control over others at all times. Having suddenly and unexpectedly lost their point of focus, Michiru's eyes dart around the room anxiously. In the next moment, Sachi passes the classroom carrying a large suitcase.
ちょっとサチどこ行くのよ。
Yeah, what's going on?
はい、先ほどあまねさんに言われた場所へと向かうところです。
Wait, what? No. Huh, Sachi, my friend, I think you've made a slight mistake. You see, Amane asked you to wander off for a tick of a clock, not the historic Attic Peninsula of southern Greece. Oh no.
それは大変失礼いたしました。てっきりアティカとばかり思っていて、渡航に向けて数日分の着替えを用意したところでした。
What is wrong with these people?
普通そんな聞き間違いしないでしょ。
You are one to talk.
ガイドブックを見ながら皆さんへのお土産を買うならアテネによってパルテノン神殿かなと考えてしまいました。
God, if you had the funds to just travel like that, that'd be amazing. Good choice. I hear the Parthenon's Manjun are pretty decent.
そういえばあの件はさっき解決したからね。
あの件、どの件ですか？
あの件よ。ほら私が物をなくしたっていう件。
そんな事件があったんですか？全く知りませんでしたが、それは本当に良かったですね。どこで見つかったのですか？
それはあれよ。
Aww, this is so cute.
はい、みちる様、聞き取れませんが。
ポーチの中にあったって言ってるじゃない。私がミスしただけよ。
Oh.
何よ。人の間違いを責めるのは心の貧しい人間のすることでしょ。
Pretty good big talk for someone who was literally attacking people for honest mistake.
責めていません。みちる様の愚かな見落としであり、他人に責任を押し付けようとする腐った性根が原因だとしても、私は見つかってよかったですねと言っているではないですか。
Beautifully said, Sachi.
そんな言い方ないんじゃないの？
I mean, it's the honest truth.
事実ではないと？
はい、事実で
She's
す。
like, you got me.
何？見つかったの？
見つかったわよ。っていうか、なくしてすらなかったわよ。悪かったわね。
そう。それならいいけど。私も失礼いたします。荷造りを解かなくてはいけませんから。
何よ。何か言いたいことがあれば言えばいいじゃない。
What, do you want me to say something? Glad it's resolved. Please don't accuse me randomly anymore. Try to be a little more careful about crying wolf in the future. Sachi could have ended up in a foreign country and Makina very nearly changed colors.
わかってるわよ。さっき見た時はなかったのにな。これ絶対に妖怪の仕業じゃないかな。
Uh-huh. The only individual who knows the depths of someone's unhappiness is the unfortunate party in question. That said, there's nothing to worry wrong with feeling a little sympathy for an innocent ghost forced to bear the blame for another's stupidity. Slight digression, but would the victim of the pillow turner be the pillow turnee? While pondering these weighty matters, I watched Michiru wander off, her container of candy clutched tightly in her hand. Again, it is a very odd that she was so attached to it. Like, it's passed off as something funny, but... Calm down, Makina. We're gonna get to that next week, but I think it's interesting that we saw her so upset about it. Again, like, I wonder if that candy is special somehow, but it was just played off as a joke. Because it just seemed like really over the top reaction. But again, it also just might have been a character moment. Maybe it was just a shame for us to see like Michiru under pressure, how she's quick to just blame other people around her. The instant something she perceives is taken from her is gone. Like, a good example, again, like that scene might have seemed a little pointless on the surface, but we learned about Michiru and like her interactions, and we saw when she was genuinely flustered, all the other characters were very kind to her. So, like, that's interesting because normally we see people picking on her, but then when she was genuinely upset and flustered, they all kind of seemed to calm down and take it, like, you know, step by step and be very reasonable, which is really interesting to see that distinction. So yeah, I think it's very interesting. I think that scene is actually pretty important, as opposed to some of the other scenes. But, you know, I digress. Maybe there are important things that happened in some of the other scenes that I just don't know yet. We'll have to wait and find out. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel, and hopefully you're having a great start to your weekend. I certainly am. This is always fun to be able to play through, and this has been a good week in general. A lot of fun content, a lot of good stories being told, and I'm excited for the next year. You know, every time we get to turn of the year, it's always a big moment, and it's meaningful and exciting to be able to be participating in that. So yeah, hopefully we get a good 2024, better than 2023. You know, at least I felt like things were much worse with 2020, and like we've been seeing improvements in a lot of ways, but there's still a lot going on I wish wasn't happening. So hopefully things will go up, not down. But yeah, we can only dream, right? Anyway, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel and joining for all these wonderful stories. I look forward to being able to share more with you. And especially thank you to the patrons and members who make it possible for me to make more content like this. It means a lot to me that you're willing to share the journey and, you know, believe in the channel like you do. And I hope I can continue to do something to make it worth your time. So thank you so much, and until the next video watching me, I'll see me next. I'll see you there.